Okay, I'm here to talk about targeted individuals. And first, what I'd like to say is something that sort of I'm going to reiterate based on some other people that I've talked to and other videos that I have seen on here. Um, that a lot of these people who are targeted individuals are people who do have certain talents, who um, who may be extremely intelligent, who seemingly may fit on like maybe autism spectrum, um, or it might even be people who have committed crimes, people who are being shunned in the community, you unwanted members of the community just for um, could be for really for anything. Could also be people who have started some sort of spat or fight on the internet. Um, some people who have pissed off people who are part of a gang or mafia. Uh, People who are a risk to Homeland Security. In other words, people who are radical thinkers who may pose a threat to the status quo, and therefore these people need to be pacified, if not eliminated. And I think that a lot of this stuff really stems from very early on in the 20th century onward, throughout the entire 20th century. Um, the basically for the United States government to make sure that everybody is in fear of the Russians and communism. And it's important for, on every level, whether it's local, state, or federal government, to make sure that everybody is being monitored. And when everybody's being monitored, uh, you could sort of weed out all the radicals. Um, and and it's interesting because now you have a generation now, and a generation that's passed. Because now we're in the Homeland generation. Prior to that, we were in the millennial generation, and prior to that would be either kind of a Y or an X, depending. I believe the end of X generation is 1981. And what you're having is a lot of your baby boomers who were kind of coming to age in a real idealistic sort of time where anything was possible, any sort of civil change or non-civil change was possible. And eventually by the 70s, all these people uh, became realists. And these are your grandparents. These might be you. These might be your grandparents. These might be your parents. And so essentially, um, you have Vietnam, right? Vietnam was essentially a it was like a playground to really learn about how to control communities, and I think essentially what it was for was to pacify the community in America, to all society, all civilization in America. It became a reason for everybody to become pacifists, and I think that there were a few different goals in why people in the government in the 60s decided to go to Vietnam. Now, to tie this all together is that you sort of have a larger goal in why people are being sort of targeted and gang stalked is mainly having to do with the fact that you're using tactics that were used in Vietnam are now being used on us, citizens of the United States, in that it would be similar to the Phoenix program. Now, the Phoenix program was a program in the 60s and 70s during the Vietnam War, and what it was used for was basically testing out